Previously on the Frontier Farmer.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Stay back. Oh. How did that fire stop? The werewolf's here. Crikey, he's fast. Can't see where I'm going. Oh god. Gotta try and find my way back to the homestead. Why is there a house here? Why on earth is there a picture of Tim in this house? Oh my god, it must have followed our scent. Hold on. It's Tim! Listen, Tim, you can't stay here. You're gonna have to disappear. I guess this is goodbye. Oh, I think that's the fire just about put out. As far as the settlers knew, Tim died in the pursuit of ridding the dark forest of the werewolf, but little did they know that Tim was the werewolf. We owe him a lot, and we'll miss him. Goodbye, Tim. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Frontier Farmer at the Dark Forest. It's now October, and a whole month has passed since the very strange events in September. And I'm here at Tim's bench. We've just been having a little bit of reflection this morning and remembering him. Of course, us all at the homestead and settlement said goodbye to Tim last month, but we've set up this rather nice memorial here to him, and in fact I think this is the only non-evergreen tree in the dark forest, which is rather fetching. Now of course you'll know that Tim is not actually dead. He has just gone away to be in a secluded part of a different forest, so he's no danger to us and he's no danger to himself anymore. But that sadly leaves the sawmill here empty. And it's all quiet because there's no work going on, so we really need to change that, because this was one of the biggest producers on the homestead and it made quite a lot of materials and revenue for us to progress. So we're going to have to see about some different plans, and I was going to talk to Derek at the sawmill at Lake Point later today to see if he can help us out somewhat. But despite all the sombre feelings of late, there is some good news, and that is that our soybeans in Stone End Field are ready to harvest. And yep, as planned, it is going to be a late autumn harvest for us, which keeps us nice and busy. So we're going to come back to that later. But first of all, we've got a couple of tidy up operations that we need to sort out from last month's drama and antics. And the first bit of tidy up is going to rescue the pickup, which we accidentally crashed into a tree somewhere down the track. Now, fortunately, our animals were not harmed by the events last month, and they are all doing well. Slightly scared, but we've managed to calm them down somewhat, so that is good. But yet, first things first, we have got to go and rescue the pickup and see what kind of condition it's in. So here it is. I crashed it into a tree at the end of the Lake Point settlement track, trying to make a quick escape, but it was rather dark so I couldn't quite see. And oh great, yeah, it's completely smashed this front corner in. it's going to need a bit of repair work. But luckily I've bought my toolbox so we can take a little look. Okay, so inside doesn't look too bad. The battery disconnected itself and there were a few bits and bobs that needed plugging back in, like some of the fuses. So we will see if we can get this to start. It's been sat here a little while because we've not had the time. But there we go. It has fired up, so that is good news. And we'll have to give the front end a little bit of a tidy up to get it back to fairly decent condition again. But never mind. So next tidy up activity is replacing the fence which burnt down as part of the fire that happened at Lake Point. So I think Derek is going to set us up with some planks that we can use to repair the fence. There we go, there's the burnt patch. It's still ashes and piles of burnt wood, but we will soon get that sorted. Here is the man we need. Good morning, Derek. Yep, how are you doing? Hope everyone has calmed themselves a little bit since last month. Yeah, it was almost like Halloween came early, wasn't it? Indeed. Right, I need some planks, please, so we can repair the fence. Thank you very much. That will do nicely. Very good. Yep, we should be able to repair the fence with that. Thanks, Derek. We will catch you later on. Right, not too far to travel, just around here. I can't remember who owns this house and which fence it is, but we did say that we would come and repair it for them. So let's get the pickup opened and we can set about working. And there we go. That's not looking too bad. Quite nicely matches up with the fence that was here before. And the ground is a bit scorched. We've had to shovel some of the ashes away, but that makes quite nice fertilizer for the other grass. And where it's scorched, hopefully it will grow back over winter. Well, not over winter, probably after winter into spring, but that is fine. So we can head back now and crack on with our soybean harvest, because we've got that harvest to do. And then after the harvest, I think we are going to start the very first stage of field prep for next year, which is going to be mulching away the stalks. And we will leave them to rot into the ground over winter and then resume any ploughing, cultivating and of course drilling that we need to in the new year. So I think it's best we probably drop the pickup in the garage so we can see about fixing it up back to how it was. And let's go jump in the harvester. Taking a quick shortcut through the animal farm. And one thing, of course, we are going to have to do is start to tend to our horses, because Tim was the equestrian on the homestead. He enjoyed giving the horses their ride training and giving them a brush and a clean. He kept very busy, that man, so he's going to be sorely missed on the homestead. But yep, we will have to pick up the slack and look after our horses until we can find some alternative arrangements. And of course, quite fortunately, we have gained a fire truck on the homestead. And I think this is a very good timing actually, because we've got a settlement, we've got an industry sector, so there is quite a high risk of fires and other accidents. So we are probably going to have to set up some kind of fire station and probably get one of the settlers to be responsible for fire duties. Maybe they can alternate which day they are on fire duty and we get them to do some sort of training. We can fire up the Neva. I think the Neva probably thought it was done for this season's crops, but lo and behold, we have some surprise soybeans for it to harvest. So we'll get the header, and of course I'll have to go and get the truck and trailer, so we've got somewhere to deposit. So we can meander our way over, past Burfield, and of course Burfield will always remain as Burfield, as a nice memory of Tim. And if we ever merge it with the field next to it, Stone End Field, then we'll just rename it to Burfield in his honour. But yep, since last time I have actually done a little bit of a tweak with the harvester. If you remember, we installed a turbo and it wasn't really performing any better than previous, but I've done a little bit of tweaking and configuration on it, and I think I might have been able to adjust it, so we'll give it a test and see if it works any better. And I have also disabled and taken out the tray which collects up the straw from the back, because there's not going to be any straw in the soybeans that we collect. Right, the trailer is a little bit better positioned now for us to get the header, and we should still have access to the field, which is good. So let's beacon off and pick up the header. There we go. I think we'll get in position to go this way, but we must go and get the truck and trailer first. There we go. And I'm hoping for a decent yield of soybeans from that field. We did everything we could to make it the best it could be, and I don't think we'll be close to filling this trailer, but it'll be nice to get a good level of it. Soybeans never yields as well as other crops like wheat or barley, but nonetheless it will be nice to get a good sum because we have a decent sized field. Right, I think here is probably best. We'll just have to reach over the bush with the auger pipe to get to the trailer. Right, we're in, so let's get started and get these soybeans all harvested. Harvest done. And what a nice view. Deer ahead. Coming to inspect the stalks from the soybeans that we've just harvested. Hoping they can get in there and catch any soybeans that fell out the harvester and get themselves fed up for winter. That'll be keeping them nice and healthy. But all the soybeans harvested, and that is the final harvest of this season and this year. And it is nice having a late season, late year harvest, because it does really keep us busy and keeps the jobs nice and regular, and yeah, it means that we can push out some of the field prep where we would have probably been sorted and re-drilled by now. That's actually going to fall into next year, so we've got some stuff to keep us busy in the spring, which is very, very good. So that's all taken care of. So it's now going to be on to field prep, and mulching is the first task. Now, the field we've just harvested should be fine because it's just stalks, but in some of the other fields we've got some weeds showing through, so we will have to deal with them. They should get picked up by the mulcher and just blitzed into the ground, but yeah, if not, we will have to see what we can do, but I'm fully expecting them to be dealt with. Header dropped off. Oh, nearly tips back on itself, but there we go. Header hitched, and we can double back to the yard. Now, this is what I meant by some weeds in the field, and by gosh, looks like field number 3 actually has the most weeds in. Cool, there's lots and lots of them. Now, the neve is looking a little bit dirty, so what I think we'll do is we'll give it a wash, because it's not going to be used for quite some time now. And yes, we want to wash the header and that as well. And what we can do is take the covers off and give the pulleys a nice grease up, so they're not going to go all rusty over winter after we've got them wet as well. So let's wash away. That's looking much cleaner. There we go. I've just pulled it forward and taken the covers off so we can access all the gears and pulleys. So we'll give that a nice oiling up. There we go. This over here. This back here. Up there. And yeah, I think it's the other side of the header. Oh, I forgot to take the cover off the header, but there we go. And get that all greased up. Perfect. Covers back on, and back on the harvester as well, so that is all sorted now. Right, we need to hitch up the trailer again, and yes, back it up into the shed. Neeva Diva. Parked up for another year. Fantastic. Now it's mulching next, and best tractor for the job is the Farmall. Nice to get back in this. And let's go fetch the mulcher from the shed. Here it is, nicely stashed away. So let's line up and back up to it. Of course, need to unfold it into operating mode rather than transporting mode, but there we go. Now, for some reason, this only works optimally on the Farmall. The International Harvester doesn't seem to agree with it very well, so that's why we use this tractor, but it's nice to keep the Farmall useful. There we go, operating position, and we can fold in the transport arm. Perfect. Okay, so we can fire it up, and I think we'll go this way so we don't have wheels sticking out the side of the field to get snagged on any trees. So if we line up, we hopefully can lower away, and we'll see those weeds get nicely zapped. Yes, there we go. Weeds gone, and stalks are nicely mulched up, and they can be left on the ground over winter to rot, and that's going to help towards the yield of next year's crops. But I've got 4 fields to do. Field 3, 4, bare field and stone end field. So leave that with me, and I'll see you when we are all done. And that is 2 fields done, field number 3 and field number 4. And you might notice that I nipped off to the little garage repair area, and that's because it was running a little bit slow, the mulcher, so I've given it a bit of a grease up and it seems to be working a lot faster now, which is very beneficial to us. So we'll move on to burr field, get this switched on. And yeah, I've tended to go around the field with the left-hand wheels facing inwards, so they're not catching on any of the trees, because this mulcher is a little bit difficult to gauge just how wide the coverage is, and those wheels do snag. On field number 4 I did catch the rocks, and yeah, it wasn't the neatest of jobs just because of the way I was looking. But we will try and make this a little bit neater. After all, this is Tim's field, and it will always be Tim's field as a good memory. But we've got more mulching to crack on with, which we will do. 2 more fields, this one and Stone End field. And what's quite nice is the mulcher does trim away the grass at the edge, so it kind of tidies it up. But as always with these forest fields, the corners are a little bit difficult to manoeuvre because it's not a nice wide open corner that you can just turn and you've got lots of space to manoeuvre. There's often bushes, trees and even stones in the way, so it does present a little bit of a challenge. But we will get it done because we need to, and it's leaving quite a nice texture on the ground, which is the obviously stalks being chopped up. And thinking about it, I think that's also going to help the ground not freeze over winter. It's going to help it to sort of keep a bit milder, which is going to make drilling and sort of field work in the new year much easier. I've just had to negotiate that rock, but I will come back and go around the rock once the headland lines line up with it again. Right, we are around the first headland of Burfield, so I'm going to crack on, get this field and the next all done. And then I think last job for today is just seeing to our horses. But I did notice, I think that we are out of TMR. There we go, that's what I meant by the wheels snagging on the rock, but managed to just push past that one. So yeah, leave this with me, we'll get finished up and then we can see about doing a tiny bit of animal work to finish up. Okay, so that is us mulched, I think, in this field. Now, Stone End Field was very hard to see where we had and hadn't been, so I was relying on the tracks to show me where I have and haven't gone. So we'll inspect the map, see how well we have done. But it was, of course, very difficult because we had just harvested that field, so we've got all of the chopped up stalks and straw that came out of it. Now, of course, one thing I remembered is we left our soybeans out and we haven't seen how much we've actually got yet. We need to go put that in the silo. It's been sat there just in the forest, uncovered, and we should really get that into the silo. But this mulcher does need a little bit of a wash because it is filthy dirty. And it's been working hard this afternoon. But luckily we managed to get it working a bit faster. Got some more mile an hour out of the working speed, which helped us out. But yes, we've got another hose here where we can give this a rinse. So let's do that. That's looking better. Holding back into transport position, and we can reverse it into the shed. And that is the mulching all done for this year. Ooh, I think I just bumped the hay bob, but no worries. It's a pretty sturdy piece of kit. Now, yes, we do need to go and see how much soybeans we have got before we do anything else. So I'll actually park the tractor here because we're going to need that for doing any silage. And yes, let's see how much we got. Here we go. Parked in the bushes. 8,294. Not too bad at all. So from that size of field, I think that's fairly good. As mentioned, soybeans don't yield as high as barley or wheat or other grain crops, but they do sell for more. They're worth more. But I think we're going to be keeping these for the time being. And we'll put them in the silo. They can be utilised as protein for the pigs, but we can grow soybeans in the open garden, so I think we'll look to probably use them some way, or just sell them when the price is right. But let's do a little turnaround and get these stashed in the silo. In they go. Thank goodness we had enough space. The silo can't take too much in terms of quantity, so I was a bit worried we weren't going to have enough space, but we do in fact. There we go, that is done. Now I'm just going to hop in the International, which looks like we haven't used since we drilled last, which is a long time ago it feels like. But the reason is I want to hitch up to our silage train where we've got our auger wagons, because I think we're probably going to need a tractor attached to it in order to unload, and certainly to unfold the auger pipe, which we can do for the first one. There we go. We can switch this tractor off. Back in the farm hall, and we can go fetch the mixing wagon to make some more TMR for the cows. There we go. So TMR ingredients are silage, hay and straw. We can get the silage from our silage train, auger wagons, and then the hay and straw from the hayloft behind us. So let's go get the silage first, because that is probably the primary ingredient in there. Right, so we want to gauge this right, as we don't want too much silage in there, but I'm guessing we'll go for about 1/3. So seems we need to be in the tractor, so we can dump in a amount of silage. There we go, it's flowing in now. Took a little while to get pumping. There we go, that is 36%, 4,400 litres. So I think that's probably a good start. We don't want to go too much in case we end up spoiling the mixture. So let's go get some hay, and then we can top off with straw and see how the ratio is looking. So we can come round here for some hay. Another 4,000 odd in there. Aha, and the ratio is looking spot on at the moment, so we'll add in a bit of straw. Just up to 10,000 litres. Add in another bit of hay. And to top it off, just another bit of silage. There we go, that's full, so we can shut the tractor off, pipe in and cover on again. There we go, 12,000 litres, 100%, and our ratios are all looking green, so that is good news. So let's cart this back to the cow pen and we should have enough TMR to keep them fed for a few months. There we go, at the cows, so we can drop off some TMR, nicely mixed, and in it goes. And this is slowly replacing the hay which we stuck in there when we first got the cows. Well, they have taken quite a bit, so that is good. Engines off, and I think lastly we are just going to go and see to our horses because, yep, Tim used to look after these guys. Sadly, Tim is not here anymore, and these guys need to be ridden. So we'll start with Shiva and come back for Khan. I'm going to take these horses for a nice little ride in honour of Tim, and we'll get them cleaned up as well. A nice little ride, and I've taken Khan over to say goodbye to Tim. They of course had a good relationship with Tim because he used to look after them, so it is sad for the horses as well, as it is for all of us on the homestead. But yeah, the homestead will carry on and it will do its best to strive as much as it can and grow, flourish in Tim's honour. There we go, back in your stables, and we'll give you a nice bit of a brushing to make sure you're all nice and clean. You too, Khan. Fantastic. Can't quite believe just how much work Tim used to do with you guys. We will miss him. Right, let's close up and we can head back to the cabin. And a couple of things to mention. I tried to get in contact with the Forestry Commission to tell them all about last month, what happened with all the dramatics and antics, and the line is dead. I can't get through to them, so I wonder what has happened. They did say they were dealing with a big problem in the forest. I don't know if that's anything to do with what happened last month, but could well be. But at the moment they are nowhere to be seen, and they've of course got their equipment left in the forest, so we might have to go and investigate their depot at some point and see what's going on. But yeah, very strange. And I think we are entering winter now, so all the harvests are done, the field prep is done, so we might have to see about setting on some winter projects. I'm thinking potentially creating some more productions and getting some stuff sold, which will be interesting. But if you've got any thoughts, let me know. That is it for today. Hope you have enjoyed watching. If you have, remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you've got any tips, tricks or things you'd like me to do, then feel free to leave a comment. But all there's left to say is, hope to see you again next time on The Frontier Farmer, and until then, catch you later. Cheers all, bye bye.